they've altered the way that they've aged their whiskey. Like normally it's 10 years and they take that 10 year and they, put it in something else to finish it off and give it some extra qualities that the original didn't have, right?
Yep.
And this, they were like, that's not going to work this time.
Hey, welcome to Scotch for Dummies.
Hey guys, 4 guys on a Scotch journey to help you with your next purchase.
And that might or could be
Glenmo.
It's a Glenmo, but it's a different one.
It's purple.
It's brand new.
Yeah, it is new.
And it's the Malaga Cask.
Malaga. I'll screw that up.
It's
a 12-year, right?
It is 12-year. But unlike the other Glenmo range, normally they spend 10 years. It's usually the 10, the original, and then it's finished for 2 years in whatever casking they're in.
That's correct.
This particular bottle, they did
deviates
8 years. 8 years in
as
the normal aging process for their Glenmo 10, and then it was taken out of that trajectory, if you will, and put into different casks for 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's actually been aged a little bit longer in these casks. So Spanish.
It's a
kind of a sherry-esque.
It's a sweet wine. So it's like it's made with Moscato grapes and Pedro's Minas grapes. So it's a really sweet, dessert wine. And so we would assume that this will take that as well. So you're starting with the Glenmo Original Young, which is really light, fruity whiskey, and then or like apples and pears and stuff, and then we put it in with some
a sweeter dessert style wine. So
there's a few others that Glenmo have in their line that they don't start with the 10 base, like the Signet, I believe.
Signet's completely different,
but it's a different mash bill.
Yeah, and it's a blend in it. But this, to me, this stands out. That was one of the things that I really like about Glenmorangie is every other bottle they have now, aside from this, it's got that foundation base.
Well, and you get to see the effect of cask aging and finishing on a whiskey that essentially is the same all the way through until you get to that change.
So this is around $100 in the U.S. right now in early 2021. 47.3% ABV. It's a little bit higher.
I like that.
Yeah, I can't believe that. Can't blame that. All right.
So it's got a nice fruity nose.
Really?
I don't know.
It does. So we'll cover for you.
So I got, and every nose of this is just a little bit different for me.
Yeah.
So you'll get like hints of dried fruit, but I also get like some orange peel, and I've got a little bit of tropical in there. But then it's got some deeper underlying. Yeah,
that's the thing. So with these glasses, these are fairly big glasses, and I'm finding I'm getting the best nose out of it when it's a real gentle nose. You just kind of let it drift into your nose, and it's sweet. And there's a little bit of caramel in there, but there's some of those berries and things in there that are really adding to the flavor. So
it's got a lot of fruit. It really does.
Doesn't smell too hot. You're not getting an alcohol burn on it.
It's got a nice deep fruity profile.
Yeah, that's like raisins and dates and plums and stuff.
And
it's nothing.
Really?
I got none of that.
What do you get? Anything?
Honestly, I get a little bit of spice.
Well, it does have a spicy finish.
It does, yeah.
And it's actually surprisingly, I don't remember this from last week quite as much. I don't think I was paying quite as much attention to the glass last week because there was so much information that was coming at us.
That's true.
It was like drinking from a fire hose. But it does have a spicier finish than I remember.
Pepper, yeah.
It's like a white pepper, peppermint.
I'm getting all sorts of plums and raisins on this right now.
It's super fruity.
It is, and that's maybe the PX, Moscato, all that sweetness coming through.
But it's definitely some deeper, darker, richer fruits. I don't get a whole lot of, because normally when I think of Glenmo, I think of like lighter quality of the fruitiness. It's got those like apples and pears. Right. It's got heather and honey, and this is a lot deeper, richer fruit flavor than I would normally associate.
I think it's pretty enjoyable. This is obviously available now in the States anyway, right? Yeah. I would assume it's global.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. There's several things that I like about this bottle.
So when I add the water to it, I do get more of the Glenmorangie signature coming through. You get more of that pear.
What'd you say the price point was?
Like $100.
Man, that's
it's $100 for 12-year whiskey. So
that's the hard part for me.
But this is a limited release, right?
Right.
They're just putting this out and they're done. So I mean, I kind of get the fact that it's a limited release. Normally they're more expensive, so it just kind of is what it is. If you're willing to pay for it, I mean, I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
man.
So I enjoy the fact that there's not just Glenmoe, but there's a lot of brands that are doing these they're seeking out interesting caskings to do the whiskey in. But some of them are just doing it as a marketing ploy. Some of them are doing it because it adds something unique to the whiskey. And I think Glenmoe is doing it for the right reason, mainly because they've altered the way that they've aged their whiskey. Like normally it's 10 years and they take that 10-year and they, put it in something else to finish it off and give it some extra qualities that the original didn't have. Right.
Yep.
And this, they were like, that's not going to work this time. Like we need to do something completely different. Let's change the game a little bit and do this in a different way. And so they, it wasn't like they were like, let's age it 8 years and throw it 2 years in the cask and, push it out to market a little bit faster. They didn't really gain any speed by doing it this way. They did it because that was the way they thought that the whiskey would come out the best. Yeah. I also am sure that the reason that it's at 47.3, right? Yep. Is because they figured that was if they watered it down too much, it was going to lose some of the quality, which I can tell you, after putting some water on it, it does change the flavor profile of the whiskey.
It does.
So I enjoy the fact that they did it that way. I like some of the fruits. It's almost, I don't want to say it's burying the Glenmoe original, but it's harder to find that original profile that was in there. All the other ones, you can kind of find it. This one, I think the wine cask that they used has just got a little more oomph to it, and they did 4 years in it. So it's got a little bit more in there to kind of coat things, but it's a well-balanced whiskey. I enjoy it. The spice was a little heavy on neat, but by the second sip, it kind of tamed it down. With water, it's actually really good. Brings forward some of that fruit flavors and notes that I really liked. I'm going to give it a solid 3. Yeah, it's a little pricey for a 12-year, but I think it's unique casking you're not going to see very often. And so it's probably worth a try if you just like, unique wine castings, or if you just want to try something unique from Glenmoe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. Are you going to score?
I'm not going to score because I can't get any of that. Okay. I'll talk a little bit about what I do get, though. I get the pepper and the spiciness, definitely neat. And actually, the spiciness hangs around for me a lot more, even with the water, than you. And I think that's because that's all I can get. My taste receptors aren't picking everything up. I can get some sweetness. I can't differentiate what that sweetness is, whether it's a plum or an orange. I just get sweet. Okay, but I get that underlying sweetness, which is nice, and that's good. My problem with the bottle is the price point. Man, that's a salty. So if I want to pay $100 for this, I want to know how readily available the limited run is, right? I mean,
is it only 20,000 bottles?
Limited? So there's a value in that, and the fact that there's not that many out there and you need to grab one, that's a different story. As far as just the juice itself, forget the price point. I enjoy it for what I can get out of it, and I have a feeling if I can get more, I'd enjoy it more. I really do. So I don't want to put a number on it, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, I'm glad we have it. It's tasty from a ex-COVID guy.
So I am actually kind of impressed with this bottle. The more it sits, the more water I add to it, the kind of the better it gets. Not with the intensity of flavor, but you kind of pull new things out of there as you let it sit and let it kind of air out. Add a little water, drink it, swirl it around, let it air a little more. It kind of changes as we go. Definitely, you lose the potency of flavor. That's obvious when you water a whiskey. You're going to lose the potency of flavor, but it doesn't go away. It doesn't disappear. It's just not as rich and powerful. And I'm a guy that likes powerful whiskeys and rich flavors and things like that. So that typically is my wheelhouse. I do like this. It's the rich sweetness I like in a heavily sherried or a sweet. Now this is sweeter than a normal sherried whiskey, I'll say. So it feels more sweet to me, that's not bad here. But as you add the water, you tame some of that sweetness down. The flavors are still there. You just have to work at them a little more to get them. That's nice. It didn't disappear. It didn't water out. It didn't, kind of fall apart like you can when you water whiskey. So I like the palate. PX is my favorite sherry. So this kind of hits my wheelhouse. Even though it's not sherried, it's the wine. But we get the point. I think I'm going to have to agree. I think a 3 is very solid. The price is up there. I will admit.
For you, it's crazy up there. Ooh, that's really sweet.
The beauty of that is I could pour a little glass of that and sip on it and let it sit for a while. I don't have to like keep hammering it to keep the flavor because the palates are great. The finish it's medium, but it's quite honestly, as the palate fades and you lose all the alcohol, there's still little bits of that sweetness hanging out. And so I think it's got a long enough finish on it to make it worth the money to me.
So 3 from both of you guys.
Yeah, it's a 3.
All right. I'm curious what I would have given if I could tell you this much while you were talking. The water sat in a little bit longer, and boy, it did get sweeter. I lost the spicy note. This last sip is all sugar, baby.
I actually, about the end of yours, the flavor had started to come back. The spicy notes had come back.
Yeah.
So it just took a little while for that water to kind of settle into the whiskey. But I mean, it's a bolder glass, honestly.
It's tasty.
So 3 from 2 of us.
So that gives you a 3.0. Easy math on that one.
Right.
So the Glenmorangie 12-year-old Malaga Cask finish whiskey, 47.3% ABV.
Go try it.
Hey, go try it. Thanks for checking out the channel. Hit like, subscribe, and catch us on Sunday Lives.
Yep.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.